To the hop fields we'd go.
Only some say you shouldn't call them that. I reckon they was deliberately called hop gardens, not fields. Farmers got to spend less paying the taxman if they was called gardens.
It were holiday. Us women and the kids, sometimes with sisters or cousins and their kids, would get down to them tin shacks near Ospringe and settle in as quick as we could, because we had to get up real early the following day to start hopping. We made them tin shacks as nice as we could, lace curtains for the windows and some nice wallpaper. Made the place look real nice and cosy. Mind you, it could get really cold in the evenings and nights in September in Kent.
And us men, we used to follow them down to Kent at the weekends, because we'd get to work. We've got work to do down the docks during the week, but it still felt like a holiday. Mind you, it was a pretty rough job.
The writer George Orwell said, "It wasn't a bad life, but what with standing all day, sleeping rough, and getting my hands cut to bits, I felt a wreck at the end of it." It was humiliating to see that most of the people there looked on it as a holiday. In fact, it's because hopping is regarded as a holiday that the pickers will take such starvation wages.
Nothing new there then.
Yes, the lorry used to come and pack all. We used to take chairs and put a bed in, and well, everything that we really wanted was up on the lorry with us. And off we used to go to Higher Garrington, I think. And yes, we used to all sort of muck in, you know. And when we first got there was a lot of activity, getting the bed ready and that, with this straw shoved in a mattress thing, and then the eiderdown on top of that to sleep on, and then the other bedding, and big long bolster instead of pillowcases and pillows, and yeah, we used to sleep like that. And then in the morning it was ever so cold to get up in the morning. I didn't like that. But once I got my Liberty bodice on, as it was, I felt warm.
You dirty old old pickers, pick 'em up all off the ground. We're the TIA, TIA, TIA. It's our washing day, don't we wash it clean? We boil it in our hopping pots and hang it on the green. We're the TIA, TIA, TIA.
Here comes our old measurer with his long nose and his chin, with his 10-gallon basket. Don't he hop 'em in? We're the TIA, TIA, TIA. Do you want any money? Yes, sir, if you please. Buy out on the bacon and out of moldy cheese. We're the TIA.
It was a marvellous holiday. and you were always pleased because you were getting paid for it at the same time. An hop picking holiday gave you health. The fumes from the hops did you a lot of good. That's why a lot of people went. I'd take the children with me, cooking implements and the necessary food. Parents hid their children under the train seats to avoid paying for them. It wasn't a genteel holiday. You'd get up about 6 in the morning and see people frying egg and bacon on the embers. We'd pick hops from 7 in the morning until 6 in the evening. Most children did not enjoy themselves though. I went to the hop fields once because the family always went, but it was terrible really. We had to sit or lie of a night time in a big barn. One night they started saying there was earwigs around. I stayed awake all night. If I'd had cotton wool, I'd have put it in my ears, but I hadn't, so I sat up all night with my hands over my ears.
Thanks ever so much for your time, Vic. And I gather you've been involved in hopping for most of your life, really?
Most of my life. I've done, 43 years with Guinness. And then when I was a child, of course, I picked at Faversham and at Salin, in the Salin Squares, it was called then, with my mother during the war.
Yeah.
And they were just happy to be out in the open, just happy to have the fresh air and the lovely weather around them, sitting the hops across their laps with their aprons on, picking away into bins and baskets, and then about 10 minutes before lunch, you were there, tally up, everybody stopped picking, and the women would be standing in a big tally basket, 6 bushel, massive great thing, and the lady would come along, right, you put some hops in there, and they'd put their arms across the tally basket, and you and I, or the family, would tip the hops in very gently, right, and the reason that is because hops, if they go down, you could lose a bushel of hops, and that meant a 6pence to that lady who picked them. Because once your tally basket was full, and sometimes it happened, the tally man would come round and he'd kick the bottom of the basket. And they'd drop, boom, like that. And he'd say, your basket ain't full, you kicked it. I did not. And they'd argue on the field that the tally man had kicked the basket, because that was 6pence they've lost. You do that 3 times a day, you've lost 1 and 6. You do it 7 times, or say 5 times in a week, you lost over £1. So this scenario, there things like that happen. And of course then, once that was put in to the poke, as you heard it today, and the bloke with 90 bushel, he would put down the poke, then any other hops you left over, you would then tip into the basket, you might have another 2 bushel. You tip that in, it come up, it's got lines in the basket, you reach that 2 bushel, you get 1 tally 2. It's called 1 tally 2. And then at the end of the day, the farmer would have that tally man's records in the office. He would add up overnight what he owed you for picking them hops. You didn't get that until you finished, but you'd also have a record of it, of your own. Because when you tally man came around, you wrote it down. I had a tally 2 today, I had 3 tally yesterday, and some people might even pick 4 tally a day because they got more children. And then the children had to pick up all the hops off the ground. Today you don't do that.
As well as Londoners, gypsies and others used to come to the hop fields of Kent to pick the hop bines. But on Thursday, October the 20th, 1853, disaster struck. A convoy of hop pickers was travelling across Hartlake Bridge in Hadlow, Kent, back to the campsite after a day of hopping. There'd been a lot of rain and the fields were waterlogged. When 2 of the hop pickers on horseback took the lead to wade through the water, 3/4 of the way across the bridge, one of the horses stumbled, causing the other horse to shy. Although both riders tried to steady their mounts, the wheel of one of the wagons crashed through the side of the rotten bridge and tipped its occupants into the swollen river. Many of them drowned. The tragedy left 30 hop pickers dead. An oast house-shaped monument still lies in the corner of Hadlow churchyard with the names of the hoppers who died, all except one. The name of one poor little girl still remains unknown. She was only 2. Her mother, sister and father also died, and nobody who knew her name survived.
Strangers, our hopping they had been. They's employed by Mr. Cox's farm on Old Golden Green, and that's in the parish of Hadlow, that's near Old Tunbridge town. That's where they buried them poor souls after they was drowned. Now some was men and women and the others girls and boys. They's a going across the bridge when the horses they took shy. They was going across the bridge then and everyone was drowned. Should have heard the screams of them poor souls as they were going down. Now people come from everywhere just to see what could be done, but not a one was saved that day. They was drowned at everyone. Yes, not a one was saved that day, and everyone was drowned. Should have heard the screams of them poor souls as they was going down. Some was men and women and the others girls and boys. They's a going across the bridge when the horses they took shy. They was going across the bridge then and everyone was drowned. Should have heard the screams of them poor souls as they were going down.
Granny came from Camden Town, to Faversham they'd all come down, the nicest place they ever found, especially for the hopping.
Near wooden huts by Sindale Park, 100 fires lit the dark, blazing faggots rage and spark, there's chestnuts in the ember.
Sleeping on a bed of straw, laid upon a cold hard floor, the thought of being poor was rich with every morning.
Local butcher, neighbour creed, little shops for all you need. Friar's bread was good indeed, especially when you're starving.
In a field the green oaks grow, on strings and poles in many rows. I've asked around but no one knows why it's called a garden.
Bushel baskets filled with hops, up to the brims with pointed hobs. No one knows, it never stops, except the man who takes the tally. Country companies how we talk, there's a swagger in our walk. Times were hard and life was good, you took your pleasures where you boast of how they come to pick the most, sending pokes up to the host, and ours they spend the money.
A stream it runs in Water Lane, by Nobby's Styles it goes down a drain, under the bridge and up again. Offspring's a pretty place to live in. Folk they come from local farms, for to dance in the old mare's arms, and some girls with cockney charms, a right crop for the picking.
Local lad whose name was Jim, old Gran took a shine to him. 'Twas many fish in that there swim, and he was plump for catching.
An evening stroll in Boysingwood, times were hard but life was good. You took your pleasures where you could, for autumn it was coming.
Granny said she loved this place, time ticks at a slower pace, felt she joined the human race, in East Kent she was stopping.
From London cheese to local chalk, they mixed a fine old broth at Oppie.
used to let us off early, kind of thing, from picking. And we used to have a sweet. And then the farmer used to come around with a cart. And he used to take us all, us children, on the cart for a ride round the hop field. We used to like that. And then, of course, we used to go to our little huts, and the ladies and everybody, there was like iron stools with holes in. And, of course, there used to be the great big iron pots, and they used to put all the food in that, you know, make like stews and that for us. And we used to sit after that around the fire and sing and play about. Us kiddies used to play ball and that. But one time it was raining so hard that Mum's Auntie Mary said to Granny, well, you stay in the hut and look after the children. We're going to pick, you see. And so off they goes, and of course, Granny said to us, now, don't make too much noise, you children. Oh no, I like children. No, we didn't. But anyway, the old farmer come along and he knew we was in there. And he turned us all out in the heavy rain. He did my poor Granny. Yeah, we had to go and pick. But anyway, we didn't mind it, because if the weather was lovely, it was absolutely beautiful to be out.
The hot time comes and we must go,
On the southern line,
cramped in a carriage away from smoke.
how the sun to shine.
By the woods we sit and stare, sitting ball, we're almost there. How we sniff the country air with a straggling bar. It's off at Faversham by the mill,
On the southern line,
half a mile up Sindale Hill.
how the sun to shine.
To the hut and through the door, put the suitcase on the floor. Now it feels like home once more, the straggling line. The Dover train runs like a clock,
On the southern line,
telling us it's time for work.
how the sun to shine.
Out into the gardens green, pick a bushel, keep it clean, as many leaves in as can't be seen, and straggling by. Sunday's dad comes to a spin,
On the southern line,
he goes home as tight as sin.
how the sun to shine.
We work in the garden here, the sky is blue, the air is clear, to make a docker's pot of beer on the straggling bar. Every morning brings the goods,
On the southern line,
struggling on from fields and woods.
how the sun to shine.
Every boy from London town likes to walk the gardens round, hiding where he can't be found on the straggling bar. Then his pockets packed and buffed and stowed,
On the southern line,
off with kettles and pans and stoves.
how the sun to shine.
Scrub the bucket, brush yourself up, on the straggling bar. It's up the hill, way to home,
On the southern line,
pots and pans and kettles and stoves.
how the sun to shine.
Sitting warm by the woods, back to the smoke of the neighbourhood that says it must have done us good on the straggling bar. The straggling bar.
Oysters have been farmed since Roman times. In Queen Victoria's reign, Whitstable was known as the oyster capital of the country, and the business is still thriving there. The Whitstable Oyster Fishery Company, down on the beach, comes highly recommended. Many who came down from London not only came for the hopping and the beer, they came to buy the Whitstable oysters. Pound an oyster? Is it pound?
The oysters are for sale, and Mark, you'll have to remind me how much they cost.
Pound an
A
oyster.
pound and
£6 for £5.
£6 for £5. Okay.
That's fantastic, brilliant.
Great.
We promised not to poison anybody.
Sit up here, please.
As he was walking down Abbey Street, a pretty little oyster girl he chanced for to meet. He picked up a basket and boldly he did peep, just to see if she had any oysters. Oh, oysters, oh, oysters, oh, oysters, says she. These are the finest oysters that ever you will see. I sell them 3 a penny, but 5 are good to me. If you bargain for me, basket of oysters. Oh landlord, oh landlord, he cried. So turn the roof on oyster girl and me, so we may sit down and merry, merry be, while I bargain for a basket of oysters. Oh oysters, oh oysters, oh oysters, says she. These are the finest oysters that ever you will see. I sell them 3 a penny, but 5 are good to me. If you bargain for a basket of oysters. Well, they hadn't been upstairs for half an hour or more, when that pretty little oyster girl, she opened up the door. She's gone and picked his pockets, and down the stairs she tore, but she left him with a basket of oysters. Oh oysters, oh oysters, oh oysters, says she. These are the finest oysters that ever you will see. I sell them 3 a penny, but 5 are good to me. You bargain for me, basket of oysters. Oh landlord, oh landlord, he cried. Did you see that pretty oyster girl so lately by my side? She's gone and picked my pockets, and the landlord he replied, you shouldn't be so fond of her oysters. Oh oysters, oh oysters, oh oysters, says she. These are the finest oysters that ever you will see. I sell them 3 a penny, but 5 are good to me. If you bargain for me, basket of oysters. Oh oysters, oh oysters, oh oysters, says she. These are the finest oysters that ever you will see. I sell them 3 a penny, but 5 are good to me. You bargain for me, basket of
we who were hop picking were standing in the trailer, we would reach into the funnel part where the end of the vine was. And the idea was that we would stand in the trailer, and getting onto the trailer was quite a mission because they were quite high, and then they were piled high with hops. So we would get on top, climb up, stand amongst and in the hops, And then there was a machine in the ceiling. It was a huge, like a big hangar, right? And there was a pulley machine that went along all the way through, winding around the ceiling with these big metal hooks. And your job was to reach into the funnel, get the end of the vine, pull it upwards and hook it, twist it onto the hook. And again, you had to twist it in a particular way, which we were taught how to do, and then send the hook into the pulley traction. And very slowly, as the hook went along, it would pull up the vine. And if you were standing in it, you'd have to quickly manoeuvre yourself, otherwise you could get pulled along. But it never felt dangerous at all. So you would send off your particular vine and reach down and get the second one and do that. And it was hard work, and there was a lot of them. And it was physically tiring, but also because we worked in a shift of 3, there would be 2 of us, one on either side of the trailer. One would hook up and send, and the other one would then hook up and send, so you do it in tandem. And the person sitting down would inevitably fall asleep. I always fell asleep because of the sleepy thing, sickness or whatever, the sleep-inducing properties of the hops. So you'd sit down, and the next thing somebody would be shaking you, and it'd be your turn to get up again.
A hopping holiday, picking hops most of the time. Picking hops, where's that straggling vine? Here we go, we're picking hops. Here we go. Picking hops all of the day. Picking hops can be loads of fun, but you don't get that much pay. Here we go. We're picking hops. Here we go. We're picking hops. Working outside all of the day, up and down the hop-filled roads. How many hops have we picked today? Only the tally man knows. Here we go. We're picking hops. Here we go. We're picking hops. Here we go. We're picking hops. Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to have a break for about 30, 40 minutes. So go and buy lots of beer, because that's what the evening's about. And oysters. Do buy some oysters.
I'm going to try